British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon, I'm Hayden Stewart, and this is your 12:30 news update. Today marks International Safer Internet Day. According to the province, BC has some of the tightest privacy protections in the country. But as Aiden Singh reports, there's still more to be done.
Attorney General Nikki Sharma says she's looking at the federal government to pass Bill C-16, the Protecting Victims Act, to expand BC's online privacy laws. According to her, the province's Intimate Images Protection Act, or the IIPA, has resolved nearly 400 cases since it began in spring 2023. But Sharma believes the courts could give more options to victims if the bill passes. She says they're taking notes from Australia and other countries around the world to, quote, best protect children and people in BC. Aiden Singh, BCIT News.
BC will receive over $27 million from the federal government for electric vehicle infrastructure upgrades. Reporter Patrick McConnell has more.
BC will receive over $27 million from the federal government for electric vehicle infrastructure upgrades. Municipalities and developers in the Lower Mainland will receive over $1 million for building several hundred new charging stations. The program is part of the federal government's electric vehicle strategy, which is allocating over $97 million for clean energy projects across Canada. Private companies and First Nations communities will also be supported with developing projects with alternative fuels like biogas and hydrogen. Patrick McConnell, BCIT News.
The Vancouver Golden Knights are halfway through their inaugural season. While it seems that the Olympic break may have stopped their growing momentum, their growing fan base has given them some edge up on home ice. Our reporter Graciela Cruz Flores with more.
The Golden Knights' home ice at the Pacific Coliseum has a capacity of nearly 15,000. Over the last 6 home games, the arena has averaged over 11,000 in attendance, according to the club. With the Olympic break and midway through the season, Captain Ashton Bell believes they're building a good momentum and giving fans something to cheer for.
Yeah, I think we use them as our 6th, 7th player out there. They're just the energy you can feed off of it as much. Even if you're tired, you have them to count on.
As one of the 2 PWHL expansion teams in the West Coast, players say the city of Vancouver have grown into a substantial flock, ready to continue hyping up their girls in March. Graciela Cruz Flores, BCIT News.
The Ministry of Children and Family Development are announcing new changes to the way children and youth with disabilities are being supported in BC. Reporter Jeannie Lynn has details on how these changes will make support easier to access for all families across the province.
The BC government is expanding services for children with support needs. These changes focus on 3 key areas: funding for families, expanding community services, and improving how the system delivers those services. The ministry is introducing 2 new direct funding programs, Disability Benefit and Disability Supplement, which will determine funding based on functional impact rather than the diagnosis. Also, community-based services is set to increase by more than 40% over the next 3 years. Jeannie Lin, BCIT News.
The provincial government is planning on helping unhoused people with a new housing project. As reporter Caleb Bassey-Templeton explains, the project will take place in 7 BC communities.
Just yesterday, the BC government announced in a press release that they are opening new housing options for unhoused people in BC, including a 50-bed shelter in New Westminster with funding being provided by the Heart and Hearth program. In a press release, New Westminster Mayor Patrick Johnstone said he is supporting the project as it helps people have access to safe and dignified spaces. The project is expected to be completed sometime in 2026. Caleb Bassey-Templeton, BCIT News.
In the U.S., the head of Immigration and Customs Enforcement is defending his officers, saying they won't be intimidated while carrying out President Donald Trump's deportation agenda. Todd Leons, along with other agency leaders, faced tough questions from Democrats during a congressional hearing Tuesday. Leons blames elected officials for rhetoric that endangers officers. The hearing follows recent scrutiny over after 2 protesters were shot and killed by Homeland Security officers in Minneapolis. Democrats are criticizing the administration's immigration policies, while officials argue their actions may make the country safer. The hearing marks the first time these leaders have appeared in Congress since receiving increased funding. That has been your 12:30 news update. I'm Hayden Stewart, and you're listening to BCIT News.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.